let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Falinger.
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna, swing this stopwatch a little bit. It's fine.
And
Nothing will
also
happen.
with us, Ryan Stokely.
Hey, hey.
I should have given you some time to prepare this, guys, but it's our 100th episode.
Oh, wow.
So,
The official 100th episode, not
yeah,
including all the lost episodes that exist.
yeah,
True.
and unlike our 50th, which I actually found out about half a year later that it was actually our 51st, but no, I double checked this will be the 100th.
Oh, and look, we're still just barely keeping our head above water on viewers. Great,
Yeah.
because of all the bots you decided to make.
What?
Yeah, that's why we get more than 3 views on things. It's because you make bots.
I now and then promote videos, which I really haven't done in a while, so...
No, that's bots. That's
Oh.
bots. There's only 3 actual viewers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, 3 viewers.
All 3.
So, Brandon, I
That's me,
know
myself, and
I know you're a huge fan of One Piece.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself huge, but I am a fan of the series and continue to upkeep with it, yes.
Do you enjoy cake?
Are we referencing Whole Cake Island?
No,
I mean, it's okay.
because
Depends.
on sale, in Japan, I do not know. Oh, cake.jp has a gum fruit cake.
Now, I better have gum powers if I eat that cake, or else I'm going to be severely disappointed.
And when you split it open, there seems to be strawberries and melon slices inside with cream.
I don't know how I feel about the lemon, because I'm hit or miss on, on
Melon.
melons. Sorry,
Melon.
melons. Slip of the tongue. I flipped some consonants around. But yes, I am hit or miss on melon. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, I'm more for, like, I don't know what, like, muskmelon, is it? Like the cantaloupe honeydew family rather than the watermelon?
Mm-hmm.
I like watermelon, but honeydew cantaloupe is far more appealing for me. Could be a Discord.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it looks like, and
So
that
the outside looks like the thing.
is the... and that's the cross section.
Okay. Oh, so it's got layers of cake in
Ooh.
between too.
Mhm.
Okay.
That looks good.
The cross section looks neat. Again, I don't
Yeah.
know how I feel about the melon part, but hey,
Melons in a cake, probably.
what's
pretty good.
what's the actual inside of this? Like the green portion that's right underneath.
I was just glancing through one of my Japanese media websites to find out something that I could discuss because I really had nothing. So honestly, I didn't really have time to fully read this article.
I'm disappointed in you.
I know.
Not being thorough.
Or prepared.
It sounds very much like you just skim an article's headline and that's it.
No!
Yeah,
No!
what the heck?
No! I do not do that. I don't have stackies.
He's got all these He's got all these stackies of this news from Japan that he's only skimmed the headlines of. He's clearly not been researching this for like 5 days so that he was prepared.
Yeah. Didn't even tell us it was the 100th episode either.
I know. What the
I-
hell?
That. cake.
What is wrong with you? Is it time for a little breaky?
I did tell you at the end of the last one.
Is it time for a little breaky, Brandon? Do you need a little breaky?
No, no, no.
Oh, you know what? Actually, here in reference to this delicious looking cake, it's so dreamy creamy.
Why are we referencing a podcast that is like the complete polar opposite of ours?
Because the quotes are perfect. The out of context quotes are great.
But one article that I did have a chance to read that I forgot that I wanted to bring up, also dealing with food, was there is this one Japanese croquette company, and if you guys don't know, a Japanese croquette is kind of like a hash brown, but more mashed potatoes with sometimes bits of meat, vegetables, deep fried, and there's one very prestigious company whose backlog is more than 6 years.
Okay.
This woman finally got her order that she made in late 2013.
Wait, and this is for what?
Croquettes.
How the fuck do you get...
How slow do they make it? Like, why?
Literally, that's what, 7, 8, 9
Are they
years?
like dry
That's
age?
9 years?
According to this article,
What?
the company only makes 20 a day.
Why?
How the fuck are they in business?
Why?
I don't know.
I
How
hate
are they in
these
business?
dumbasses, dude.
Like,
That's like
by that
dude,
logic, I could put an order in and be dead before I ever get it.
they're
Right.
like the supreme of making food.
200. I'm sorry. 200 are made each day. I was 0 off.
That's still not making sense as to how they're
Yeah.
still in business. Because, I mean, people aren't just buying one croquette at a time. That's probably like, I'm going to say, what, 2 to 3 per person, I would guess?
Yeah.
And that's
something
assuming
like
you're
that.
not ordering for a family.
Uh,
You're trying to. So there better be fucking gold leaf or something in there.
Kobe beef and locally grown potatoes prized for their sweetness.
All right, Kobe at least makes a little bit of sense, but still, I don't understand how you're in business when you're selling that little.
Well, they probably make other things from this croquette company, probably like lower grade croquettes.
You just said they only make 200.
Of these specialty ones.
Have you not looked through your stackies close enough yet?
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Holy shit. I don't know.
I don't like these people. I don't like the way they do things. Make a bunch or don't make any.
If they're making other stuff, then I can kind of see how they're still in business. However, fuck off waiting 9 years for fucking croquette.
Yeah, dude.
That's not... Look, I don't care how expensive they end up being, alright? I'm not waiting 9 years. Fuck that. That's stupid.
A pack of 5, which is the minimum, will cost you 2,700 yen or $22.
That sounds really cheap for Kobe beef.
Yeah.
There's got to be a lot
It
of
does,
meat
actually.
filling in there that's not beef then.
Well, it is a potato croquette filled with beef.
Yeah, but I mean, your ratio from beef to potato has to be a lot. Like, what is it? 12 potatoes to like 1 ounce of beef?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
there
those
is
look
not
good.
a lot of beef in there at all.
Yeah. Wait, so what is that? Potato? It's potato and beef, right?
And potentially spices.
But the main ingredients look to be beef and maybe onion, I think. I think there might be an onion in that one corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like an onion. So yeah, onion, beef, and potato, and that looks like about it.
Mhm.
Besides whatever spices and butter probably, or what have you.
Yeah.
Also, they're not like a ball. They're like a pancake. That's weird.
Yeah, most croquettes or croquis, as they're called in Japan, are, I would say, maybe like McDonald's hash brown, like a large McDonald's hash brown. So maybe like two side by side, and that would be like the size of one.
Okay.
That still
That's
seems
pretty big,
too.
though.
That still seems not enough to me.
Wait. That's like 1.5, right? You
Yes,
said
that's
that?
one split in half, is what it looks
That's
like.
pretty big, actually. And you get 6 of them for $20?
Five.
5?
The woman ordered the maximum she could, 20.
Okay.
I'd like to see this like with an actual side by side of what it is next to like a human hand or something to like measure it to see how big this actually is, because I don't think this is a very good picture to define the size.
Well,
Like there's a hand there, but like it's in the background and out of focus.
on a
Like, holding
plate
it.
might not be.
It's pretty
Okay.
big.
All
I
right,
don't
there
know.
we go. That's better. Yeah, that's bigger. So yeah, that'll probably be close to what the croquettes over here are about, size wise.
Mhm.
Because ones over here are probably like maybe size of a softball, maybe a little smaller. But like 5 of those for what you said? What did you say? 27?
2,700 yen. $22.
Again, that's not a bad price, but for what it seems like as far as how much beef is in there and how much is potato, I don't know that it's worth it.
Huh. The yen must have changed to dollar because I thought it would be a lot closer to dollar rate. Like 100 yen is close to a dollar, but it seemed to have changed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'd buy it, especially because I'd be waiting fucking 9 years.
Yeah.
The woman moved twice, I believe the article says.
That
So,
shouldn't make a difference.
right.
She moved twice. She could have died within that span.
Yeah,
And then
dude.
where did their croquettes go?
Give your fucking croquettes to people, you pieces of shit.
Make more.
It pisses me off now. Now I'm mad for no
9
reason. I don't
years.
even know these people.
Guys, moving away from food, or maybe not, anything going on with you?
Still playing Legends Arceus. Really enjoying it. I've gotten to the point where the legendaries have shown up. New Fate Go event has dropped as of, I believe, yesterday or the day before. That's been fun. It's a board game.
Sounds interesting.
You're trapped in a board game. Roll some dice. Let's go.
Oh, cool.
Hell, actually, it seems to be a different game, and I think there's like a total of 5 or 6. The first one was a board game. The second one, we're playing werewolf, essentially.
Oh, where you try to figure out who's
You try to figure out who's the werewolf and get rid of them before they get rid of the
Yeah.
innocent villagers. Plus,
Okay.
you know,
Oh, it's like what was that? In Massachusetts, it's Salem,
Yeah.
mhm,
where you pick the roles and whatever.
mhm. There's a few other specialized roles in here, some of which have their own win conditions. For instance, lovers, like 2 people are considered lovers, and their goal is to keep both of themselves alive for the whole way through the game. And they could be a werewolf or a villager, depending, like regardless. Like the lovers is a secondary role. There's a fanatic who's trying to help the werewolves win, but the werewolves don't know who that is.
Oh, okay.
There's also a seer, who at the end of every round gets to pick out one person and see who they are, like what their role is.
Okay.
But you're gonna go out and tell everyone you're a seer, because if you do that, you're gonna become a big old target for those werewolves who get to kill one person every round.
That sounds like a fun game.
It's a very fun game. I've played like the actual physical version of it with other people. It's fun.
You use your phones for that?
It's a deck of cards actually,
Oh, okay.
and the cards each have a role on it that you pass around. And I believe there's more roles than what I've listed, but for the sake of this one, they've kept it simpler by only having a couple of extra roles.
Okay.
There's a few variations on this too. If I recall correctly, there's also another one that involves like being spies too.
That sounds fun too. I like those games.
Still playing Kingmaker. Realized I'd fucked up at one point because I'm like, oh, this is not important. The guy, like, I double checked a guide to be like, all right, cool. Can I just, from a story perspective, lose this and it's fine? And the guide said yes. And then later on, I'm like, wait a minute. It's like it gave me another big choice, and I'm like, wait, I had to beat that guy in one-on-one combat, not lose, to make this happen. He didn't tell me that before when I double checked. So I'm like, well, fuck me. All right, I guess I gotta go all the way back like a week in the past to saves. Which sounds long. It's not, because I've been saving like a maniac a lot. So there's a lot more stacked in there than there needs to be. But yeah, I believe that's it for me, really.
Ryan.
I started watching Jackie Chan's Adventures again.
Oh, okay.
And
How's Uncle?
I Jackie. Hiya. Oh man. I forgot how funny that show is.
It's a really good show, and I wish more
Yeah.
shows with like big like named actors like that could be good. They
Yeah.
just generally aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jackie Chan Adventures has no right to be as good as it is.
Yeah. And I think I may have brought this up on the original episode, but I think the voice actor for Jackie was like a Jackie Chan impersonator
Really?
in other things. So I forget, but I think there may have been a movie about Jackie Chan, and he played like Jackie at one point. So that is kind of cool that they did bring a Jackie Chan impersonator to be Jackie.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So not much than watching Jackie Chan, Ryan.
Yeah, doing that, and I got back into like Fire Pro Wrestling, which is very fun, just to like set up matches and watch them. Actually, just like watching the CPU is actually entertaining.
Yeah, I always did that sometimes when I wait, always sometimes.
Sometimes.
All right,
Yeah,
this sounds about the time when we start putting bets down on which AI is gonna win. We get some
Now,
salty bet action in
I
here.
didn't even think of that, to be honest.
but I would kind of do that with Street Fighter because I think Alpha 3 had a watch mode, and I would just sometimes do that and just go like, oh yeah, come on, Ken, beat her, oh no!
Wow. What is it sad that my mind went to like fucking Barbie and Ken? Beat her, Ken. Beat her in the face. Like, oh god, no. This is way darker than it should be.
That reminds me of the time I made my G.I. Joe punch my sister's Aladdin in the face, and it broke his head off,
What?
and
Okay.
I couldn't fix it. Yeah, I was like probably 5 or 6, and then I just took one of her Barbie scarves and tied his head like that freaking that creepy tale of the girl with the tied on head. It had. And then the next time she played with him, his head fell off.
Didn't even think to grab glue for that one, huh?
No. Yeah, she wanted to make Jasmine and him kiss, and his head just falls off.
Oh yeah, so there
Entertaining.
was a Toho girl based on that type of monster.
Oh, what the tied on head?
The
Is that what made you think that?
Rokubi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And her name is Sekibane. But anyway, on to today's entree.
Ooh.
Ryan, like we teased last time, our 100th episode of Brianna's Discuss Anime is not anime.
What?
Have you ever heard of Arcane?
I've heard of the word arcane. I don't think I have any knowledge of whatever you may be talking about.
So are Ryan.
What does it mean, Ryan? What's the actual what's the anime? You tell me.
Yes.
Is it
You
about?
got one word.
Wait, you said it. We're not covering an anime.
No.
Not this time.
That may give you a hint if you've seen this around somewhere.
I might not have ever seen it, so I definitely haven't.
You might kick yourself later.
Okay. I'm gonna guess it's like a Korean show with wizards or something.
Okay.
Definitely something to do with magic.
Why specifically Korean?
I don't know. We're not doing an anime, but
Okay, you know
I
what?
figure
Fair.
it's-
Technically, it would be called something different. I don't remember though what it is.
Because isn't Korean manga manhwa? No,
Yes.
that's a Chinese
that's
one.
French.
No, you're right. Manhwa is Korean.
But then what's the Chinese one?
Don't know.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's either Japanese or Korean, but it's definitely got wizards in it, or maybe puppets.
So they're
Because
both
of
fantasy puppets or like hand
yeah,
puppets?
No. It's
Oh,
got to be
definitely.
Muppets. It's
Yeah,
got to be
Muppets.
Muppets.
yeah, it's Muppets with wizards.
Okay.
Haha!
All right.
I'm
Alright.
gonna use spell now! Yay!
Fucking Gonzo's wand is just his nose.
Yeah,
Extends.
he's turning everything into chickens. Oh man, but yeah, I
Paz is
guess
just making cream pies to slap in people's faces.
he could just conjure them. Oh yeah, he can just like yeah.
Bibbidi bobbidi waka waka!
Wingardium
Wait, hold on. What is? I'm sorry, I'm cutting this off for a second, but I'm very curious now. Is Swedish Chef's wand just a ladle? And does he turn things into what he doesn't want by mistake? Like he's gonna try and make himself some like popcorn shrimp, and he keeps getting just popcorn.
They have the shrimp Muppets. Be shrimp too.
I'm a puppety shrimpies.
But yeah, I think it's all right. It's live action. I'm gonna go with like a Power Rangers type
Muppets to
thing.
live action, okay.
Yeah,
Or is it a combination?
I'm gonna go. It's like a Power Rangers type thing where it's like there's a bad wizard or something. There's some bad magic, and then the good guys are like in this wizard academy or something, and like the head wizard is kind of like Zordon. He's like too old to do stuff, so he's got these youngsters. His what the heck would that be? The man,
We just call them younglings.
it's so not sorceress. Man, I can't think of the word. Apprentice. They're like his apprentices, but they're like pretty decent. And they also have pretty cool suits when they, their robes or do different stuff. Like or they cast different magic. One's like water, the other one's fire type thing. And their robes do different stuff. Like they throw their robe and it turns to like an animal.
Okay.
Like the fire would probably have like a phoenix. Water would have like a shark or something, or a whale. I don't know, something like that. Air would have some kind of bird. Like earth would be like a gorilla or something cool.
I want to watch this now.
But yeah, and yeah, then like the bad guy keeps scheming every episode that he wants to take over the earth to control everyone, and he's like basically making putty people, like just making
okay,
like
all
clay
right.
golems.
What's his evil plan? Like, why does he want to control everything?
He's just mad for some reason.
For some okay.
His the whole thing is he's mad that he's a scorned lover.
Okay.
And
The
now
world does not accept his puppet love.
yeah, his like right hand person is like a puppet.
Is it
But
on his right hand?
yeah, it is his
It's
right
on
hand.
his right.
He's deranged. He's a
Okay.
deranged wizard.
All right. I got
And
it.
the
It's Mr.
scorn love
Garrison and Mr.
is
Hat. Got it.
yeah. But his scorn lover is not real. And it's like kind of just made up in his head. He's basically like an incel guy that lives in a tower that has
Okay.
magic. That also is schizophrenic. And unfortunately in the year this takes place, mental illness is not really a thing that they're just like this guy's kind of an asshole.
We really need to do movie
So
makers again.
You're only kind of an asshole. Okay.
yeah, but like he's just like hell bent on taking over the earth or planet or whatever domain. And yeah, the four wizards and yeah.
Well, when you said scorned lovers, and right before we get into this, you just made me remember the Japanese version of the original Power Rangers where Japanese Rita, I believe it was like Witch Bedora, like why she was evil and making all this stuff, she wanted revenge against the dinosaurs for killing her son.
What?
I haven't watched any of the Jew Ranger, I believe it was. I only was reading this like years ago, but something like I think like dinosaurs killed her son, so she brought around like the meteor that killed them or something. Like I don't know enough about that, but I know like she was trying to avenge her dead son. But anyway, you're wrong, Ryan. This
Yeah.
is a 2021 series made by Fortiche Productions and Riot Games.
Oh, okay.
The full title is Arcane, League of Legends.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have heard of this?
Yeah, I haven't watched it though.
Ooh.
It is pretty good.
It's very good.
I know next to nothing about League of Legends. Brandon has played like some of the card games
Yeah.
and other stuff, and I know you used to be pretty big into League before.
Yeah, I play it like maybe once a week or so
Who
for a
is
little
Oh.
your
bit.
main?
So Ryan's been down in the salt mines.
Yeah, I played the game when it was in like the beginning,
Mm.
the earliest stages. Back then my main was like Poppy, but
Oh.
when I play now I either jungle with a Mumu or I top with Gary. Big spinny Gary.
None
Gary.
of those characters are in this season.
Nope.
What about Jace?
Jace did not exist until this thing came out.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh,
Wait, Jace? He has the gun?
Nope.
Why does that sound familiar though?
Jace has a hammer.
Yeah, but doesn't it shoot stuff out of it? Or something like that?
Not in this. I don't recall him shooting anything. It made a shield at one point.
Hold on.
I don't think it was shooting anything in the series
Jace
yet.
has been around for a while, I think.
Oh wow. Okay. I thought he came in with the show.
nope. According to League of Legends fandom,
Yeah, he's like one of the
2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he's been around way longer than I thought. All
first.
right.
Yeah. He was like when I still played, he was like one of the last dudes to come out. I used to buy dude, if I had my old account, it's like worth like at least $1,000. Like I fucking bought so much shit. I got addicted to that when it first came out. I played it for like 3 or 4 years.
Were you one of those toxic players, Orion?
No, that's why I stopped playing because people were just giant.
I was gonna say it
dicks.
took you a second to think about that. Are you sure?
I mean, I was definitely like a dick, but only if like they were doing shit like they started.
Were they feeding Orion? Were you angry that they were feeding?
Some people just suck at the game, so
So it deals with basically the origins of Hextech and the
okay.
backstory of Jinx
And Vi.
and Vi.
Oh, okay.
And Jace, technically.
I don't like any of
Yeah,
those
Jinx, Vi,
characters,
Jace, and
but
Caitlyn are the
Oh,
four main ones that are, and Echo.
okay.
uh,
Yeah, those are all right.
kind of Victor too.
Yeah, somewhat of Victor, but he definitely does not reach his final form, as one might say. At least not in this season.
So a bunch of characters you don't really
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like if it had like I like the who the heck? The people from the mountains. I forget.
Argon?
Yeah, like that stuff and Bilgewater.
Yeah, all right, you like the pirates and the mountaineers. Unfortunately, we're not there. We are in Piltover and Zaun.
Okay. Piltover's alright though. And there's only that many characters in there?
So far. I mean, Heimerdinger's in there too, but he
Oh, cool. I like
doesn't have his
him.
origin in it already. He's kind of already established there.
And
Oh, okay.
who is the little? Oh wait, that's Heimerdinger.
Yeah,
Okay.
Heimerdinger.
Yeah, it's Spaghetti Head.
The little goblin thing.
They're called Yordles.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, wait. What? Doesn't he have like hair, like big bushy hair?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's more slick back in this, but yeah.
Okay.
And a huge ass mustache.
Yes.
Yep.
He's a
Beautiful
pretty-
mustache. There's also like bat-looking people that I'm not sure what the species is. We did see a Poro, I think, at one point. We did see a Poro.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's
Ah,
right.
I just
Yeah,
gotta
he
see.
got zapped. He was the one that was sitting there that accidentally got hit by the death ray
Hmm.
that they were demonstrating for like carving images and shit. Yeah, it singed him. So yeah, there was that. That was a Poro.
And since I don't know, like, basically anything about League of Legends other than this show, I'm going to really let you lead this discussion, Brandon.
I mean, I'll do the best I can. Like I said, I told you I don't know much. I've
Is
got mostly the
Master
card.
Yi in it?
Who?
Master Yi?
Nope.
Huh. You would think they would have like at least the original roster, like Rise or
They're
Viz.
only focusing on Piltover and Zaun, none of the other regions. There is like one character that comes in from Noxus.
Oh, who?
I don't know what her actual name is. It's the mother of one of the people on the council in Piltover.
Oh, that bitch woman.
Let me see if I can get her name.
She a spider type lady?
Nope.
Okay.
She's dark skinned, that's for sure, and on the older side. But I couldn't tell you her name off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think of all the Noxus like champions. So what's like the deal? Like
So,
is obviously there's like bad like Noxus is
here's her name. Ambessa Madara.
well, I have no idea who the hell that is.
All right, so just created for the series then. All right, so it starts off where we're on a bridge and we're seeing a lot of people getting murdered. And it seems like, from what I understood, it's an early war between Zaun, which is looking for independence, and Piltover, which is like, nah, get back down in the sewages, you scumbags. We basically see, like, through clouds of smoke, we get to see little baby Jinx and Vi wandering around, probably looking for their parents. And one guy, Vander, who I believe is where Vi starts picking up all of her boxing techniques, all of her punching powers. He's got a pair of like roughshod punching gauntlets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up saving them after seeing that their mother, and probably father, but for sure mother, is already dead
Mm-hmm.
on the bridge.
Damn.
And the drawbridge between the two cities is pulled up, keeping them separate as both sides like pull back from the massacre.
Damn.
So after that little spiel, we cut ahead to
Maybe like 8 years later.
it's hard to say. I was gonna say 5
Okay.
because I think Vi and her name is actually Powder in this before she becomes Jinx. Vi and Powder are like I want to say Vi is like 8 maybe, and Powder 5 is my guess. Because by the time we get back from the time skip, I want to say Vi's like early teens.
And Powder's maybe like 11, 12, maybe 13.
Yeah,
13.
I was going to say somewhere between 10 and 12. 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there, preteen. So Vi's like, we got to go out here. We're gonna head topside, and we're gonna do a little raid. And she's bringing along 2 other guys that are her like adopted brothers, essentially, like her stepbrothers. One's name was Clanger. What was the other guy's name?
Milo.
Milo. That was it.
Milo?
Milo and Clanger. No, it was Milo.
Okay.
Clanger's a hefty dude. He's got goggles on. He's the brute strength. You got Milo. He's the shifty cocksure asshole, but he's pretty good with picking locks.
Mm-hmm.
You got Vi, who's essentially your confident leader, I guess, and good old brawler. And then Powder.
Does she have her fists? No.
Nope.
Okay.
Give it some time. She's bare knuckling at the start.
And then we have Powder. Who is Powder?
She makes things. She's like your
Tinkerer?
engineer, I guess. Engineer.
Okay.
She'll be the one making up like your bombs and different technical gadgets. She's your very shy version of a young girl Q from Bond.
Okay.
However, her devices don't work.
Yeah, unfortunately.
She hasn't quite figured it out yet.
All right.
So they're going topside. They're like, yeah, we're going to do a raid. And we're going to prove to Vander, the guy that saved them, their adoptive father, that, we know what we're doing. We can do this. We're going to prove to him that we're good at this thing and he can trust us.
And have they ever raided before this?
If they have, it's probably been very small stuff, and I don't think, based on what they say, Powder has ever been along for it.
Yeah, it seems that this is their first big-time job.
Yeah, it's the first, big time, oh shit, we got a lead on a really good place to, snag shit. We gotta go there. So they're heading over to Piltover, jumping the rooftops till they get to the place. Milo,
Clagger?
No, not he. No, Milo goes to lockpick the door. Vi just ends up kicking it in, and he's like, "Fucking animals!" As he just sits there, still holding the lockpick, like he's going into the fucking lock. I'm like, as soon as that happened, I'm like, oh, the comedy in this is on point.
Yes.
They're searching around this apartment, looking for good shit, and they're picking stuff off here and there. And then you got Powder, who wanders off to another section of the apartment, and she's like, "Oh, cool, a sandwich!" and just starts munching on a sandwich that was just laying out. And she picks up this little blue glowy crystal that she's like, "Ooh, this might be worth something." And then we see who we later find out, Jace, knocking on the door, being like, "Hey, what's going on? Someone there? What's going on?" Forget if it was Vi or Milo, but someone slams a chair up against the door so we can't open it. Powder quickly grabs as many of the blue crystals that are sitting there as she can.
Mm-hmm.
And one falls out.
And goes kaboom.
Mm-hmm. Starts rolling toward the door and goes kaboom. Luckily, Vi and the others managed to get out, but that kaboom brought in a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a bunch of constables or whatever they're calling themselves are chasing them down until they manage to slip away back down into Zaun. But then they get confronted by some little gang people who were like, "The fuck's that? Oh, you on top side? Oh, you got stuff. Oh, we heard people were looking for a bunch of kids. You want to give us some of that?
Yeah,
That cost coming back into Zaun. It's the toll. Give us the shit." So a brawl ensues. The goods are tossed to Powder, who takes off with one guy following. She manages to get around a corner, but it's a dead end in that corner. So she's like, "Oh man, I gotta pull out one of my things." And she's like, come on. Throws like her little wind-up monkey bomb. Or at least that's what I assume it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it fails miserably. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly where you are now." Starts walking up, and all Powder can do at this point is just toss the shit into the river that's next to it. That she's next to at this point. It's like, well, we didn't get shit. We got chased by all the cops. And on top of that, we had the shit beaten out of us coming back in, and we don't have any fucking thing to show for it.
Yeah.
And none of them know what triggered the actual explosion, not even Powder. Because I think that crystal slipped out and she didn't realize it. So
Vi gets all mad. No, it was Milo.
Milo
mad.
gets real mad and hard on
like,
Powder about like not being ready and shit.
Yeah, like, why is she around? She's a jinx. She's always a jinx.
Every time she's around, something goes wrong. All right, so we find out a little later that I'm trying to think, what point do we want to bring this in at? Do I want to jump over to Jace's point of view on this, or do we want to keep putting up until we get to the time skip and then jump back to Jace?
Up until the time skip, like, there's
not much with Jace. There's only a little bit.
Okay.
To really put him on his way. So let's stick with Vi and Powder for now.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
So Vi and Powder are getting, scolded by Vander, and he's like, "I'll make this shit disappear, but you fuckers got to stay down here now. You cannot do anything else until this shit cools down." Because Vander's been, I guess, since that massacre, trying to keep things steady on at least a neutral playing field. He's the de facto leader of the underground of Zaun at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because wasn't he a soldier at one point?
He was one of the leaders of the uprising at the start.
Yes.
So everyone's kind of looking at him to like keep things in check. Well, needless to say, things aren't going great, because one of the people that was also part of the uprising is still interested in trying to get an uprising going and make an independent Zaun, like regardless of the consequences of that action. To the point where they've been developing a chemical that turns you into like a hulked out, fucked up, addicted monster.
Okay, and this guy was created for the series.
Silco.
Yes, good old Silco, who is like a real good villain. I think he was like written pretty well.
Well, especially later, because like at the start he seems like a real piece of shit, even if his goal might have like some nobility to it, right? He was very much just like a piece of human trash. But by the end, it's like he does get humanized pretty damn well. So Silco's like trying to essentially usurp Vander, but he's like buying his time before he can. He's gathering people that are getting sick and tired of like what Vander does and how he like buddies around with the cops to keep things chill.
Mm-hmm.
Silco eventually gets to the point of sicking a monster on Vander, one of the other guys that worked with Vander. I forget what his name was. He was a shopkeep though at this point, but he was part of the uprising prior. And the cops that were looking into Vi and Powder, who again they don't know who they are, just know that they're a bunch of kids. And Vander's like, "All right, look, the only way this is gonna go away is if they take someone. I'll submit myself to whatever discipline they want. We'll make this go away."
Mm-hmm.
Even gets to the point of telling Vi, like, "Look, you are going..." Actually, Vi tries to turn herself in, and instead, Vander locks her in a fucking basement area and is like, no, they're taking me instead. You are not getting put away." So he gets locked in chains, And when they get outside of the building, that fucking hulked out monster comes in, rips apart the constables that are there, and then drags away, kills the other dude, the shopkeep dude.
Blood is
And
spraying.
drags-
Blood is spraying everywhere. Like, since Vi is down in the basement,
She's
all
only
she
got
can,
one of those like little basement half windows to look out of, and she can barely tell what's going on.
because blood is like covering the window, and she's like, "Oh my god, like I know somebody died, but who died up there?"
Something's bad. Something happened. I don't know what. Fuck. And Vander ends up getting dragged away by this thing. Echo, who worked for the store owner as like a little mechanic, pops open the door and is like, they took him. They killed the boss and took Vander. I should also point out at this point that one of the underlings of the main officer that was in charge there, he took some money to let this happen, even though he didn't realize it was going to be a massacre like this. Good old Marcus. Good guy, Marcus. That blood money on his hands. Yep.
Damn, Marcus. Classic.
Oh, I fucking hate this guy. Has no redemption at all.
I did not like him.
You can see there's points where he's like imagining what could happen if he did, but he never actually gets the guts to do it. Like there's a point where he's like holding a bomb and it's like you see the exact scenario in his head play out of like him pulling the trigger, killing him and Silco at one point, and the fallout that might happen afterwards. And then it just reverts right back to what's in it, like to him staring at it, being like, I could have done that. Just end it all here. End all this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But nope. Too gutless. Can't pull it off. Or can't just do anything about it. Anyway, Vander gets dragged off. Vi basically is like, alright, look, we gotta fucking do something. And grabs like Milo and Clanger and is like, we're gonna go save Vander. Powder, you stay here.
No, I want to come. He's my dad too.
No, this is way too dangerous. You're the youngest one here. You gotta stay. You know.
So she begrudgingly does so.
Vi,
But
Milo, and
then-
Clanger head off to try and get them. This is where Vi grabs the old gauntlets that Vander had hanging in his bar, because they basically live in a bar.
Okay.
Vi grabs the gauntlets. They're kind of an old, jacked up, like steampunky looking gauntlets. Not actual fingers, but definitely gonna fucking hurt if you get hit with these things. They end up getting in to where Vander's at and slowly undoing it, and then realize, like, Vander's like, how the fuck did you guys get in here? It's like, it was easy. No one was around. It was really great. It's like, oh, you idiots, you need to leave now, because he realizes the whole thing's a trap to get them there.
Yeah.
And it's like, shit. So Vi's getting there to like defend them, because between them and the other side where all the others are at is like one of those metal grating bridges across like this factory area. So she's like taking people down as that's going on. Clanger's trying to find a way through the wall, like a weak point in the brickwork to break through. And Milo's there trying to undo all of the locks that are like latching down Vander's arms and legs to this almost electric chair looking thing.
I honestly thought it was an electric chair and he was going to be electrocuted.
I wasn't thinking electric chair. I was thinking they were going to inject him with the same like Hulk serum, the shimmer that they were calling it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a forced injection, and they were going to find him hulked out and out of control. During this time, Powder realizes, like, oh shit. Like, she's still got, like, the pouch full of those crystals that she stole. Like, those were still a thing that didn't get thrown in the lake. She realizes, like, what the fuck had happened during the explosion. That these crystals had done it. And she's like, I can help them. So she runs off to, like, go and do something with these crystals. Like, I don't know if she's actually like thought through what it could be, but she's running off there. As we get back, Vi is like barely hanging on. Like she's managed to take out like most of the guys, and then Silco's all like, "Yeah, all right." Looks at the kid who he injected before that dragged off Vander originally, who looks so fucked up. like withdrawn from the fucking shimmer, the serum, and he jams him with it and sends him in to go and deal with it. At this point, Clanger has managed to like start breaking through the brickwork. He's found a weak point and he's getting the hole almost open.
Mm-hmm.
I believe at this point 2 of the locks on Vander's one arm and leg have been taken care of.
I believe it was.
And they're like, well, fuck. Vi, I think, loses one of the gauntlets during the fight with the Hulk dude and realizes we're in trouble. Gets like thrown back in with Vander and like that portion of the room. And so quickly she like gets up, runs over, and slams shut like the metal bay door between them. And that hulked out thing is like getting ready to slam on that door. The third lock on Vander's leg is now open, and he's only got the one on the arm left. And as the third one gets picked, Powder shows up, looking in through a window, drops one of the crystals into one of her wind-up monkey bombs, tosses the bomb in, and the thing's like, you know, clapping the cymbals, going in, walking, and the hulked out dude's like, "The fuck is this?" And the whole thing explodes. Powder gets blown from the window she was looking in where she threw it in at, off the side. The bay door blasts in, throws Clanger and Milo against the wall. Milo gets pierced by like a
Metal pole.
like a metal pipe or something.
I think it was a hand railing.
Might have been a hand railing. Through what I believe is like his heart, or right thereabouts. Might have been a lung. Either way, he bleeds out real quick. Clanger, I believe, got taken out by like chunks of the wall that crushed his skull when they hit.
Damn.
Vander, who had just gotten free and was trying to help Vi like hold the door before the Hulk dude bashed it in. Both Vi and Vander get crushed by the door and the brickwork. So Vi's like not able to get herself up. She's underneath that metal door. Vander manages to just barely pull himself up out of the brickwork that's on top of him. And he's fucking pissed. Because he thinks this is Silco. He thinks Silco did something with the bomb. He has nobody has any idea Powder's there. Actually, I think Vi might. Because I think while she's stuck under there, she sees the head of one of Powder's the wind-up monkey, like sitting there, and she like might have like this inkling of it, but she doesn't say anything. She's like just crying out from the pain at this point. Vander goes against the Hulk dude, who's apparently not as injured because of probably that serum or whatever, and starts going to town trying to take him out. He grabbed the leftover gauntlet that Vi still had and is just trying to take him out. And then the Hulk dude grabs him, slams him, and throws him back down to the bottom of the factory.
But wasn't there one point where Vander injected himself with Shimmer?
Right after this.
Ah.
After he's thrown at the bottom and he can barely move, he just manages to get like his hands, because he's thrown into what I think is like a case of Shimmer, and like the bottles are all spread out, and he just like is trying to just reach his hand over just barely to like try and grab it, because Silco goes to like the hulked out dude, no, you got to go get the girl, and I think he means Vi at that point. So Vander injects himself, comes back up hulked out as shit, kills the kid who was injected earlier, the other hulked out dude, manages to grab Vi, and I forget exactly what happens next. Some kind of other explosion happens. I forget what it is. I don't know if like the original bomb sparked a fire that led to something else then, or what.
I think it may have been a... No second bomb then. Yeah, it may have been a after explosion.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Either way, Vander realizes it just before it happens, and instead of being able to go after Silco, he runs to protect Vi, gets her out from under the door, and protects her as the explosion goes off, jumping out a window. He lands, protecting Vi, but he's gone way too far and ends up dying, saying like, you need to protect Powder, as like his final words before he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Powder comes like around the corner. He's like, Vi, did you see it? I helped. And it's like, you did this? This was you?
Milo's right. You are a jinx.
Storm's off. Silco shows up with a knife and what's left of his cronies, ready to probably kill Powder until like Powder, after having like the most realistic child cry I've ever seen in a fucking animated series, with like the snot and drool and all the shit happening,
And just like runs over to Silico and like
launches herself at him and hugs him. And Silco's like, you can see it in his head of like calculating of just, oh, I can use this. And Vi's about to come around the corner to help when Marcus, our good old fucking shitbag of a cop, fucking chloroforms her and is like, no, he'll just kill you. And takes her off somewhere.
And that's the end of the first arc.
For them, in Jace's case, what ends up happening is that he ends up going to like after the explosion happens, he ends up being looked into because apparently some of the shit he was working with is something that they're like, yeah, no, this is way too fucking dangerous. What was a student having all this shit for? Eventually it gets to the point where like Heimerdinger comes in and starts interviewing him. He's like, oh, you're looking into magic. You shouldn't look into magic. That shit's dangerous. I've seen what it can do to people.
You should be a man of science.
Yeah, you can't control it. So it gets to the point where it's like, look, just don't say anything about magic when the council meets. And I think you'll get off with, a proverbial slap on the wrist. Just admit that you had some dangerous stuff and we can let it be at that.
And during the meeting, he says he was dealing with magic.
He couldn't not... Because Jace's backstory is that his mother and him were up in what I assume is probably like the Freljord, the icy mountaineer area, and was saved by someone using like runic magic with these crystals. Like they got teleported away, like out of the mountain into like the springy area, like near the base.
Yeah.
So he's been obsessed with like figuring out this magic and using it for good.
Okay.
And if he can do that with science, that's the goal. When I forget what exactly is said, but I believe something is said that sparks his irritation, and he just like comes out and says like, look, there is a chance. I'm very close to figuring this out. There is a chance we can use this and we can just better people's lives. Unfortunately, that leads to him getting expelled, and while his mother does speak out and manage to keep him from being just kicked out of the city as a whole, he's banished from the university. So he goes, you know what? Like he and Heimerdinger meet up at one point again after the meeting, and he's like, you know what? If you won't support me, I'll find someone who will. Starts shopping around what he's got to some of the other like high-profile people in Piltover. Doesn't work out. Gets to the point where he's like ready to commit suicide, like he's left a note and everything. And then Heimerdinger's assistant, Victor, pops up, and he's like, I think there's promise in this. Like he's got like an accent to him, and I can't quite place it. So he and Jace start working together, trying to figure out what they can do to make it work. And it ends up ramping up to the point where it's like, shit, they're doing something. Fuck. We gotta get in there. And it's like Heimerdinger and a bunch of like the cops and the other council members. And by the time they get there, they figured it out and they're floating in midair.
Oh shit.
I should also point out that Victor comes from Zaun, and is also a cripple.
Okay.
Like he's something's up with his leg, and he's got to like walk with
cane.
It's not quite a cane. It's like that. It's like that mix of a cane and a crutch,
Okay.
Where it's like it's a pole, but it's got at the top of it like the clamp that goes around the upper arm, and then it's got the handle that the hand holds onto. One of those things. I forget what I don't know what the actual term is. But yeah, he definitely walks with a limp otherwise and can't exactly do a lot of like physical activity. But they end up figuring out what they call now Hex Tech. And at this point, Heimerdinger can't exactly turn him away because it's like, you've actually managed to do the thing I thought couldn't happen. You've used science to control magic. And I believe that's about the point where it ends for Jace, where they're working on Hextech now, officially.
Yeah, and was Caitlyn his girlfriend at this point?
She was working as his assistant before the explosion happened, is what I took it as. Like, they were friends.
Okay, I thought there was
And she
some.
might have been interested in him. It's hard to say. There wasn't a lot of time with them at this point in the story together.
Yeah, I felt like there may have been a connection between them.
There might have been, but I don't think there's enough to really like hammer home that that's definitely what was going on.
Yeah.
Because I think literally the only time we really saw them together was like right before the explosion, and then just at a point where it's like she wasn't really allowed to talk to him because of him being expelled.
Yeah.
Caitlyn's mother's part of the council, so you got to have that good name, be reputable. Can't mingle with the shitty people. So yeah, that ends Jace pre-time skip. Cut to time skip.
Where they're all the age they are in League, or would you say like?
I want to say still a little younger.
Okay, so like,
because there's still points that I know about that happened that they haven't gotten to yet.
Oh, so instead of being like
for instance, Victor is definitely not where he's supposed to be in League.
So Jinx is like 2 or 3 years older than she.
That's what I'm guessing. I know for a fact Vi is not where she's supposed to be as far as League is concerned.
Okay.
So yeah. Where does it pick up exactly after the time skip? Picks up with Jace, I think, doesn't it?
With the airship.
Yes, it picks up with them where it's like, cool, we've created the Hextech gates that now link the city with all over the world, essentially. Like, they've created portals using the Hextech. They're demonstrating new things that they've created to Heimerdinger. That it's like, we created like this new version of Hextech that is way more stable now, right? Like, we see the gauntlets that Vi will eventually get there, where it's like, we've created these to like increase the mining output of the miners, right? They'll be able to bash through all sorts of material to get to the ores that we need.
And they had a Hextech laser that still had a few bugs in it.
They had a Hextech laser that was like carving a picture of Heimerdinger in steel and then accidentally swings to the side a little bit, cutting off a corner of the piece of metal and singeing the poro that's theirs like mustache.
Yeah.
Just a little something for you, Brandon. That's the laser that will soon be mounted to the back of Victor when he gets to be his final form.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It's that exact thing. It'll be a death ray. Heimerdinger's like, yeah, this is all great. Now, give it a few more years to make sure all the kinks are worked out and all the safety stuff is put into place, and then we'll be good.
No,
like, but
a few more years? But we can't have that
now, right? We're trying to help people. This will ease so many people's problems. It's like, oh, boys, you don't understand how this stuff works. It can't go that quickly. You got to make sure that it's safe, that it is truly and really reliably safe. Which, he has a point. However, this is, I believe, the portion where we start finding out that Victor doesn't exactly have a lot of time left. See, because of how he was born, it's not very clear what exactly it is he has, but because of the way he is born, he's not gonna live long. Like, he's coughing up blood. And you can see, like, the way he's walking is a lot more... The limp's a lot more pronounced than it was in the first section. Mm-hmm. So whatever he's got has progressed now to the point of, like, oh no, he may not live much longer. He might have a couple years at the best, at the most.
Does he seem active in League, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm guessing his final form, like, he cures himself, or, like, Hextech away his limp.
Let me give you a sneak peek of what he looks like.
Yeah. Wait, is that Final Form?
That'll be like Final Form Victor. Yep.
Ah, okay.
Or he's got himself like a full suit of armor set up going on.
Yeah, he's probably. I mean, he ends up being evil, right?
I wouldn't say.
Arguable, I
Yeah.
think.
Maybe in season 2 he might be a villain, but right now he's more anti-hero than villain.
Okay.
It's more like he wants to speed things up to try and save himself from the problems that he has from the disease. And he thinks he might be able to do it with Hextech.
Okay.
So he's kind of throwing caution to the wind to try and like run forward to get to that point.
Okay.
Like that's kind of his entire thing during this point is just him fucking around with things, trying to figure out and go through different formulas and stuff, what is going on and how to potentially bypass his disease.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you missed the part about the airship and Powder is guarding it from thieves. One of which is
right, that
Vi.
It's not.
It wasn't Vi?
No, that was a flashback. Like that's what Jinx thought. It's not.
Oh.
Vi's in the prison, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Marcus took her. When Marcus took her, he threw her in jail.
Oh, I thought it was she was captured and then she was put in prison.
She was put in prison after Marcus got her.
Ah, okay.
It was just another girl with pink hair, and I think what might have happened is like as Jinx is staring at her, it flips between Vi's face and the actual face.
Okay, maybe.
But they both had pink hair. Hell, even
Okay.
Jinx says when she ends up talking to Silco at one point, like there was a girl with pink hair, and he tells her like your sister's dead.
Okay, that makes more sense.
They're trying to get Shimmer into the city is basically what it is.
Does Silco have a Shimmer addiction? Because Jinx/Powder keeps shooting something into his eyeball.
I think it's kind of like I don't know if it's a specific type of Shimmer or if it's just like something that keeps him going or whatever. It keeps like that quote unquote beast that he talks about raging inside of him.
Oh, okay.
Like he only takes like a quick shot. He doesn't like jam himself the way some of the other people do. Like the kid he jacked up with it.
But it's more like an eye drop, except directly into your eye.
With a needle.
Which is
The hell?
Yeah, I found that a little bit unnerving.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, just for Orion's sake.
Is Mundo in there yet?
Here's our buddy Silco. There's our buddy Silco.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen that guy before.
No, because I think he was created for the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
But needless to say, he's been mentoring Powder this entire time for the last 5 or so years. You know, for the time skip, however long it was. And at this point, Powder looks a lot closer to Jinx than she did before.
And you mentioned to me, because I didn't quite know who she was, and you said like she's a crazy Harley Quinn.
That's the best and easiest way, I think, to describe her. For someone who hasn't seen her. She's very much just chaos incarnate.
Yeah.
And honestly, with like the Silco angle, it feels a bit even closer just because of like the dynamic rather than being, you know, lovers with the case of Harley and Joker. You have the father-daughter relationship going on that's still kind of fucked up with Silco and Jinx here. Like, Silco has definitely been twisting her over these years, and at the same time, Powder was in a very susceptible frame of mind to be like, you're the only one that cares here. Like, she says at the end of the time, like right before the time skip kicks in, she has no sister.
Yeah.
Because Silco's like, oh, where did your sister go? And she's like, I have no sister. Now, whether or not Silco thinks or knows that Vi is dead. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know for sure whether he's aware that Vi is alive but just in prison or not. Or if he assumes she died, like during the explosion.
And
so yeah.
didn't Jinx blow up a building or something to steal Hex Tech?
Yes, during Progress Day. Progress Day comes around. Jace is making a lovely little speech about Progress Day and how great Hex Tech will be in the future and blah, blah, blah.
And
during all of this.
And you can't talk about your future plans because you'll make people too excited. And he talked about future plans.
He goes on to. He was going to demonstrate the new stuff, but then he decided to heed what Heimerdinger said and not show it off.
Oh, you're right. Shit, I didn't know what I was thinking.
You clearly weren't. You weren't looking at your stackies.
I need to take better notes.
So, yeah, basically what ends up happening is Jinx is like, I'm going to prove myself. Ends up stealing the the more stable Hextech crystal. Because before it was like a faceted crystal where it's got like the flat sides all around it. The new one is a perfect sphere. So she manages to steal that along with notes. And in the meantime, kill a bunch of officers and explode a tent and shit. And just cause utter chaos in general. And Silco gets all pissed off. It's like, do you fucking know what you've done? It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. And pops up the crystal. It's like, this little baby's gonna be pretty for us or something like that. And Silco's like, oh shit, you did good. So he's like, you gotta figure out that thing and turn it into a weapon.
And doesn't Jace become a member of the council at this point?
Jace does become a member of the council at this point. I forget exactly what the process is that puts him in that place, but they nominate him to the council. He gets to be added in. Oh, I remember now. It's because it got stolen that they're like, he's the only one that really understands the Hex Tech, and as such, he should be added to the council to have the resources at his disposal to recover the lost tech. So he goes through with some of that stuff. Caitlyn, in the meantime, is like, I know there's something going on here. She's trying to piece things together, and she's like, there's some bigger plan going on here. Eventually, she ends up finding Vi. She wants to question one of the guys from earlier that got captured, but when she's going to the prison, they're like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's got a really shattered jaw right now because of a fight with one of the other inmates. So he won't be talking for a while. She's like, all right, can I talk to the person that did the damage? So she finds Vi in prison. And Vi manages to convince her to be like, oh, you want Silco? I want Silco. I can only help you if you get me out of here, though. So she fakes a note from Jace in order to get her out. So she and Vi break their way down into Zaun. Vi starts getting some connections and pulls on old connections to be like, all right, what the fuck's going on? Where's Silco? What's happening? Fights off Silco's right-hand girl, who now has a mechanical arm that injects shimmer into her body. Essentially guts Vi during the fight. Knife fingers on your metal arm straight through her stomach kind of stab. Caitlyn ends up managing to using her sniper to just chase off the girl, the right hand for Silco, and gets Vi down into the really shitty slums that have now come around. Finds some medicine that involves shimmer, gives it to Vi. Vi recovers, so it must increase your recovery rate as well, healing. At this point, I believe Powder finds out that Vi is alive and is extremely upset at Silco for lying to her and telling her that Vi was dead. Silco tries to manipulate her to be like, oh, she didn't come back for you. She came back for the crystal. That's what she's here for. It's nothing to do with you. So Jinx ends up going off and taking a flare that Vi had left to her back at the start, that she said, if you use this, I will come running to find you. Well, Jinx is up at one of the top higher areas in Zaun, uses that thing, trying to signal Vi. Vi ends up coming to her, and then they get attacked by a bunch of guys on hoverboards. Vi and Caitlyn get taken, as well as the crystal, because Jinx loses it here. And they wake up and, oh man, Echo's here. Echo, who recognizes Vi.
Yeah.
Echo, who's kind of been like the underground resistance against Silco and his bullshit.
And right before we really get into Act 3, wasn't there some Hex Tech core or something that Victor was experimenting with?
Yes, the magic that Victor was experimenting with was like a hex tech crystal, I think, surrounded by a bunch of different like metal pieces that had different runes written on them. And he's trying to mess around with that thing, trying to get it to like do something for him.
And didn't it react to his blood?
Yes, as he was coughing, he ends up passing out, and it kind of like absorbed his blood into it. Now at this point, I don't know that that really did anything too much, but he has managed to realize how it can affect like
Organic matter.
So, for instance, it can accelerate how quickly a plant will grow, right, and make it bigger and shit. But he's like, every time that it just dies really quickly, and it's likely because you're accelerating the life cycle, if I had to guess, or maybe using all of its potential life, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, like the lifeline it has or whatever to like speed up and empower its growth now, only to then die later because it doesn't have any more like life juice or whatever left in its system.
Okay.
But yeah, that's going on. Act 3, Echo has showing off to Vi what he has created as far as like a hideaway for like the kids and shit, away from the shimmer, away from all the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Got like a nice tree that's grown up in Zaun, turned into a giant fucking tree house. It looks great.
So it's like a subsection of Zaun that's like away from the slums. It actually looks nicer than the rest of Zaun did.
Well, because there's actual nature growing there too. So yeah, we get through that. We move on to them being like, all right, look, we need to turn this over because Echo actually has the crystal now, the stable hex tech core. He wants to hold on to it, but between Vi and then Caitlyn being brought in, it's like you need to return that. If you can return that, we can work with you to take down Silco. It'll clear you guys by returning this. And after a bit of back and forth, Echo's like, you know what? Fine. But I'm the one that returns it. Like, that is his one condition. I will go with you and I will return it. It's like, all right, we'll do that. They get to the bridge where the massacre had occurred before. And this is where Jinx has been waiting.
Yeah, because she keeps thinking that Caitlyn is trying to take Vi away from her.
She thinks Caitlyn's is her replacement now. Is Vi's replacement for Powder. Like, that's what's being put into her head, that Caitlyn is replacing her as Vi's sister.
Didn't Jinx, like, have her leg messed up so she stapled it shut?
Yeah, I think at one point, yeah, she like stapled shut the wound.
Something that Ayumu should have done last time. So is that why Jinx only wears one stocking in most images to like cover up her leg wound?
This backstory only happened now, so I don't even know if that's the case. Like, that design has been in place for years before this story.
Oh. Maybe justifying it.
Maybe. I mean, I think she was still wearing the two different ones before that, wasn't she?
I will need to look at character art.
Anyway, we have a nice little fight where Jinx tries to steal the Hextech crystal, gets it, then Echo manages to get it back, tosses it to Vi and Caitlyn, who ended up, Caitlyn ends up getting in, was it Caitlyn or was it? It was Caitlyn. Caitlyn was the one who got injured. So Vi's helping Caitlyn get back to Piltover with the crystal now, while Echo deals with Jinx.
Okay.
Now, Brandon, I'm curious, what do you think happens in this fight? Because the fight is really, really cool because it's bouncing back and forth between like images of young Jinx and young Echo fighting each other versus their current selves.
I thought that was a really good effect.
So what do you think happens here? Because you see, at this point, Echo drop a stopwatch out of his hand and start swinging it back and forth right before that fight starts.
Oh,
Because remember, there's a point where you see Powder shoot, and it gets Echo probably right in the lung.
I'm guessing this is some sort of time manipulation that Echo knows?
Bingo! They haven't explained it here, but yes, Echo has the ability to rewind time by, I want to say, a handful of seconds. Or maybe even up to a minute. And be aware of what's about to happen. Now, it's just time travel, so who the fuck knows exactly how it works, because I didn't dig into this.
Oh, you know what they say. Another one bites the dust.
Well, here's the real question, right? When he does that, are we still in the same timeline?
Oh!
Or has he created a branching timeline a la DBZ?
Oh my god, this is getting more confusing now.
See, that's the question, right? Because we don't know. We don't know how these time shenanigans work. Nor do we know how he got that ability.
Oh, this is very timey-wimey.
And wibbly-wobbly.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a point where he rewinds, redoes events, and manages to take out Jinx. Only for her to, I forget, like, if she pulls a pistol on him right at the end and manages to, like, knock him out. But then, we have a nice little situation where the cops are coming, because of all the big bang boom booms going on the bridge. And now this is a part I'm not sure of, because a bunch of, like, mechanical insects come up and cause a massive just explosion all over the bridge, murdering every single cop that shows up.
Those were the latest bombs made by Jinx.
Did she make them? Because I didn't remember seeing a part where she was working on them. They were in the same area as her, like flying around, but I didn't know if they were hers.
I assume they were hers.
Yeah, because I don't remember her actually working on them. I just remember them being around in general, like flying like normal.
Yeah, I just thought, like, monkey bomb, and, like, I was just going, like, animal-based bombs, and, like, what could
Yeah, but
be...
like my thought was like a lot of Jinx's stuff looks kind of like hodgepodged together though. Those bugs look really smooth.
Who else would make bombs then?
See, that's the problem. I don't know. Right? They look very mechanical and delicate, but then Jinx's stuff is all like hodgepodge bits and pieces from other shit.
Zillion throws time bombs.
It could be Shuriman, because it does have like the kind of like goldish kind of look to it. But I don't know where they would have come from. Because there's no hint of Zillion or anyone else from Shurima. Like to me they seem a bit out of place in a place like Zaun. That's like kind of a I don't want to say steampunk. I think the term they tend to use is like chempunk, like chemical punk.
Mm-hmm.
But these do not seem like that. These seem much closer to something more refined than that would be.
Okay.
So either way, I don't know where they come from or what they are doing there or why they went off when they did. Because it's not like Jinx had the ability to give a signal or anything at that point either for it to happen. Either way, shit goes off. Silco later finds her and has to take her to a doctor to get, shit done to her. In which case, the doctor knocks out Silco because he's like, you're not going to like what's going to happen. And does a whole bunch of horrible shit to Jinx that fucks with her head even more. There's a point in here where I'm like, what is the point of no return for Jinx?
I think it was actually the part with the two chairs.
You think she was still savable at that point?
Potentially. It may have taken some work to get her back to powder, but I think at that point she was still willing to become powder again.
I don't know, because here's something we haven't brought up. So during certain points in this, we see some of like the insanity that Powder has from the mental scarring of what happened when she threw that original bomb back in the first act, right? Mm-hmm. She has made like doll versions of her brothers, and she hears them talk to her all the time, either shitting on her or, telling her things are her fault, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, was there a way for her to get over that shit at that point?
Maybe she'd be willing to try. I mean, like, she would have Vi back, so she would have, like, something to hold on to.
I don't know. and especially because of the way things go in a minute. So after this thing goes down, what ends up happening is that Caitlyn, Vi, and Silco get abducted by Jinx. They're sitting there at like this long table with a meal cooked up or whatever, or like a fake meal at least, with two different chairs. One says Powder, one says Jinx.
Oh,
And
wait,
one end is Silco.
Hold on, and it was just like, I cooked you up a delicious meal, and Vi was like, oh, how could you? At this point, Jinx says, what? I'm not that crazy.
Well, yeah, because Vi's thinking that, like, it's Caitlyn. Like, she's, like, killed Caitlyn and is serving some part of her up. But, yeah, rolls in Caitlyn on, like, a wheelchair kind of thing and puts her at the table. So she's like, it's up to you, Vi. Get rid of her, and you can have Powder back. The choice is yours. And, you know, you get one seat versus another. It kind of, like, gets to a point where she takes the gag off of Silco. Silco starts spitting out bullshit about how Vi left her and this and that. And it's like, I was in prison. I couldn't get out. I would never have left you had I not been thrown in. And, like, you know.
Yeah.
Vi tries shouting out, like, Vander, about Milo, about Clanger. And I think that's where Vi fucks up. Because Vi has no idea of, like, the mental state Powder is in. And by calling out those names, I think she just empowers, like, the voices in her head. And makes it all worse. And at that point, on top of that, Powder just kind of loses it and starts firing off her Gatling gun and kills Silco. Something she did not want to do.
Shit.
And it turns out that Silco actually did love her as a daughter.
Well, yeah, he did. As fucked up as it is, and as, like, he was desperate to get her to the doctor to keep her from dying, too. He actually does care about her. There was a point right before this where Jace offered him exactly what he wanted. Zaun is its own city. You get your commerce and trade agreements. You are fully independent. The cost is that you give us Jinx. That is the cost. You give us Jinx, and you give us back our crystal. That's it. And you can have everything you want. And it's during this moment of him trying to, like, sit down and consider what the fuck he should do at, like, a fountain in Zaun that is when Jinx steals him away and abducts him. But yeah, she ends up killing Silco in just, like, this fit of mental anxiety, mental breakdown that she's having after Vi has been calling out the names of her father and brothers. Jinx runs over, is like, no, I didn't want to do this, no, fuck no, oh no. And Silco ends up dying, and he's like, they were going to give me everything, but I would never have traded you for it.
Damn.
Jinx gets up and sits down in the Jinx chair. There's no bringing her back at this point, I don't think. And then she realizes what she has to do. The ending of this series is her taking that big old rocket of hers, her friend Fishbones.
Fishbones?
That's what she calls that gun, by the way.
What?
What is it? Well, did you see what it looks like? It's a fucking fishbone looking thing.
I thought it was a shark.
Yeah, a shark, which is a fish.
Fair enough.
Literally, you play one of her cards, and one of the things she says is, "Oh, it's just you and me, Fishbones."
She talks
Ugh.
to it.
She talks to it. Oh no, and she talks for it. She goes, "Just you and me, Fishbones." Ugh, and them. Or like, when you put her out to attack, "Let's go, Fishbones." I don't wanna. And the end of the series is her firing off that rocket that's powered by that Hextech crystal she stole toward Piltover, detonating the place.
Damn.
So Ryan, does this sound like a series that you would want to watch?
Yeah, actually. I mean, it's characters I kind of already am familiar with.
9 episodes, 40 minutes apiece.
Okay.
Some of them are closer to 35 because Netflix, which this is on, and other places, if you want to do that, they're between 40 and 45 minutes, but with like 5-ish minutes of credits due to Netflix having all the international credits in 2.
Yeah, the credits are long.
Yeah, so I did find it interesting that since it is Netflix, it didn't have any really consistent times to the episodes. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, you're not constricted to 23 minutes each episode, but at the same time, it's a little bit tougher to judge where the story will go.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, it's about like the 30-minute mark. Things should be wrapping up when you still have like 12 more minutes to go.
I kind of prefer it like this, where it's like you have enough time for your episode to tell it what it is, right? It's within a range of time. It's not like one episode's half an hour and the other one's 1 full hour, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay with it being like varied like this within a certain degree. You have the time to tell the story you need to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I think that would be more extreme. Like, unless it's the first episode and having, like, some kind of special.
Oh yeah, no, or the ending special. Yeah, one or the other's fine, but like, I'm talking like middle of the series,
Yeah.
doing something like that drastic.
Like, a 3 or 4 minute jump between episode lengths, like, that's not the worst thing. So, even though they're not your favorite characters, you'd be very interested in this, Ryan.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Because I'm sure that there would be plenty of other like hint drops in there that you might get that we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
I should also mention that Heimerdinger at one point gets expelled from the council because they think he's holding him back by looking at things in the past and not at the future.
Really?
Yes, I forgot about this part. He ends up going down to Zaun, and as he's coming back up, he ends up helping Echo, who's fucked up his leg with that fight with Jinx, and getting him back to his hideout. And I'm going to assume that he and Heimer are going to start working together in Season 2 toward whatever ends need to happen.
And I could not see the Echo Jinx story going past 2 seasons, because we were talking about it Wednesday, and you said that there's probably going to be a bunch more characters we'll learn the backstory of in later seasons.
With this going the way it is, I'm thinking like the next season will probably continue to follow Piltover, but after that it could go to any other region, I think. Heck, we may get hints of that in whatever the second season is, if I was going to guess.
Ryan, what is your favorite area in League that you would want to see in a future season?
You mentioned Targon and Bilgewater before, so
yeah.
I'm assuming one of those, right?
Yeah, probably Bilgewater over.
You want Misfortune or Gangplank?
I like Gangplank.
He dips his oranges in the salt water. He calls them sweet and salty.
He's gotta keep from getting scurvy.
Exactly.
Having those oranges.
Mm-hmm.
The origin of the orange. I'm sorry. Wordplay is what I do.
I don't know, man. When we were doing the Nuzlocke, you completely missed the puns I was putting out.
Yes, you were doing more puns than I did.
I know, and you didn't get it. It went right over your head.
Except for the one that you're like, hey, do you notice that? And I'm just like, oh my god. But
Supposed to be the wordplay expert, and here I am running circles around you.
yes.
But yes, the art and animation in this series is fucking amazing, and the voice acting is perfect. Like, it is on point. There is no one in here where I'm like, oh, that's a shit voice.
Right.
No, everyone seems really well cast.
Right, and maybe if I was a little bit more familiar with League, I could say this without any doubt, but from what I've read, this is one of the first, if not the first, video game to movie or TV adaptation that actually works well.
Probably because it was made with Riot.
Oh, I was going to say, it also has the time it needed to do what it needed to do, right? Like, usually if you're going to take a game and make it a series,
True.
Usually it's not bad. For instance, the Witcher TV show. That's not too bad.
Oh, okay.
From what I've heard. Movies, on the other hand, are kind of where they stumble because they try to cram too much into too little time. Or they adapt it so far out of what it was meant to be that it's really bad.
How did the Uncharted movie do?
Like the Halo show.
Yeah, we're meh. Yeah, the Halo show was like, oh, we looked at the stuff that you guys did to make the game,
Yeah,
but we didn't look at the actual material that it was in the game itself.
it's just a sci-fi show that takes stuff from Halo, and
It's
that's how I
yeah, it's a
watch
sci-fi
it.
show with a Halo skin. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, it seems that Uncharted is mediocre, not bad. Rotten Tomatoes has 40% with an average rating of 5.2. So, okay, but
But
nothing.
I think what you need to look at is less just like the audience itself, right?
Mhm.
And the people who know the games then watching this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
In the case of League, it's fine because this stuff is all essentially, for now anyway, prequel stuff building up to who these characters become, right? Nothing that, as far as I'm aware, is in League at all. You can get away with shit like that because you have the creative freedom to do just about anything so long as you get them to that end point that they need to be at. Whereas with something like, I don't know, Tomb Raider or Uncharted, like you said, this stuff has already been cataloged in the games and you're kind of ignoring what the game's set up already.
yeah.
Or in the case of Halo, it's just, we're gonna do our own thing and, we'll make it look like the thing you like.
I haven't watched it yet, but you said he has his helmet off so much of the time.
Yeah, like literally
Anytime there's not a fight, it's off. Is
yeah,
what I've heard.
he only has it on the first episode for like 20 minutes, and then the rest of the shit he has is it
That
off.
is so stupid. That is so
Yeah.
stupid.
I mean, yeah, that and they just like make up characters that don't even make sense. Like this the way they just did everything just bugs me. And I usually don't care, but Halo is like one of my favorite.
I was gonna say with like the Sonic movies, right? That one at the very minimum, you can be like, well, Sonic's had so many different fucking reboots at this point as to what his origin is. We can kind of do whatever we want and
Mhm.
probably get away with it.
And wasn't there a Sonic comic from like the
Archie comics.
Yes, yes, but
Yeah.
wasn't there one of them, like a one-off, where there was like some power surge and Sonic came into the real world, and that issue was more photographs with like Sonic penciled into them?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I will have to take a look at that.
Oh, I think they also added Sonic the cartoon on Netflix.
Yes.
Which one?
The like 90s.
Okay, so like, wait, which one?
The good one?
Sat AM?
I have no idea. Whatever one is like from like 92.
There were like two of them. That's the problem. There was a bad one and then there was a good one.
I don't know. Whichever one has Dr. Robotnik and like the drill dude.
That's the bad one.
Okay. I like it.
Sonic Adventures.
Yeah.
It was Sonic Live from November 1996.
Oh, they have Sonic
Okay.
X on here too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the 2000s one that's more anime styled.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
And what about Sonic Underground?
Not on Netflix.
Where Jaleel White voiced Sonic and his siblings, including his sister?
That's fucked up.
Wait, what?
Oh
now?
yeah, that's the one where Tails is still fucking brown.
Yeah, Sonic has Sonia and I think Manic is his
Wait, what? Sorry, I'm just noticing something. I'm like, wait, the Minecraft Story Mode game is on Netflix.
What?
I'm very confused. I mean, it would work. All you're doing is picking a choice, and then it plays out. You're not really doing much.
Yeah, but Jaleel White had Sonic and Manic and Sonia were all voiced by him, and I'm just like, that is so weird.
Why is Sonya voiced by him? That's the weirdest part. Like, I could see both of the brothers. The girl is weird.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
yep.
back on topic.
Like wrapping up. Like I enjoy this. I probably won't get into League because of this,
No, it's toxic. I wouldn't. I'd
do
get into the
not,
card game. The
dude.
card game's fun.
Yeah, the card game is fun.
and that
Runeterra
is
fun. And
called
free.
RuneScape.
It's free.
Legends of Runeterra.
And you get a
Runeterra.
lot of shit.
You get a lot of shit, and it's
Mm.
pretty easy to get what you need.
Is
Yeah,
that
it's-
on Steam, or will I need to do something?
No, you just need the Riot
It's yeah, you can get
launcher.
the Riot launcher. You can get it there.
Okay.
You just go to their probably just their website, and you can probably download it from there.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
play it on the phone, so I don't.
If
go
you
through
if
Riot.
you have Amazon Prime, you also get like a bunch of stuff like every month too.
Nice.
Like I have like so many things that I haven't opened yet that I've just been collecting for like a year.
Literally, I think I have most, if not, I have
And you
most of the
you
cards.
can get like all the cards. It's not like Hearthstone where
No, Hearthstone.
like,
There's See, there's a reason.
hundreds of dollars.
There's a reason I stopped playing Hearthstone, where I'm just like,
Yeah.
I gotta keep paying in to stay on top, and I'm just done with that. And then I moved on to this, and I'm like, I can just get everything free without a problem.
Hmm.
Because they'll give you wild cards that you can just turn into whatever card you want it to be.
Yeah.
Also, they're having an event right now for the second anniversary that includes skins from Arcane for Jinx and Vi.
Huh.
And one thing before we end this that you were a little bit shocked about, that Jinx wasn't from the beginning.
What do you mean?
You were surprised she wasn't like one of the original launch characters.
Oh yeah, no, I had assumed that since she's kind of become like your mascot character for the most part, that
Yeah.
she wasn't there from the beginning.
She was early-ish. She was definitely like 2000.
2012.
What? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
When the game started, like 2008? 9?
9, I
9.
think.
Yeah, I think it was 9.
I definitely remember it being after I graduated.
So one more thing before we go.
Okay.
What do you think? Who actually do you think, based on this story, Brandon, fucked up? Where was it where things went fully off the rails? Like that started this whole situation. Was it the fact that Vi left?
Yes.
Powder and Silco took over? Do you think that's the mistake that led to this? Do you think it was the mistake of originally bringing Powder on that topside mission?
I would say, like,
Do you think it's Powder deciding to try and help and not listen to what Vi told her?
a little bit of that, a little bit of Vi storming away.
I want you to tell me what the main one was, though. Not a little of this and a little of that. I want you to tell me what you think the main mistake was that led down this road.
Vi leaving.
Vi leaving? Okay.
What do you think?
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think while all the other things up until that point were good intentioned, Vi leaving and losing her cool there is what led to everything falling apart fully. I think if she had stayed, she would have probably been able to help Powder get through the trauma she probably had starting at that point. Probably would have been able to get her and Silco out of there. Actually, the other question would be, was the problem Vi turning herself in or trying to?
I'm not sure.
Because that's the mistake that led to them being there in the first place. And not letting Vander handle the situation.
But would he have died otherwise?
He wouldn't have been captured the way he was at the very least. And it wouldn't have turned Zaun and Piltover into a civil war.
Right. I guess that wraps up the 100th episode, and we'll be back for episode 101 on the road leading to a potential 150 down the line.
But what happens when we get to 151?
We explode.
Do we catch Mew?
I want to be the very best. Okay, enough of that. So, next time. Hey, Ryan, do you love ramen noodles?
I do.
Hey, Brandon, do you love ramen noodles?
I mean, after you made me try to eat that 1 pound thing, not so much.
Oh, but I love ramen noodles. Okay, we'll catch everybody next time.
Bye.
See you.